Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the garden. Yaje here, excited to share another gardening video with you. So, this video is about spring garden cleanup. Yes, I took some time to clean up the garden and I wanted to share with you what I did because cleaning up your garden in preparation for spring can be a little overwhelming, especially for busy people. So I just wanted to share with you what I did. Hopefully, you can be inspired to take some time to clean up your garden because this is an important task that you need to do so that your garden is nice and clean and weed free. And when spring rolls around, you're ready to plant. If you would like to see how I cleaned up my garden and how I took care of some fire ants that I had in the garden, the exact product that I used, then stay tuned. And now let's get started. Tribe, I have a huge fire ant mound right here, and I am going to share with you what I use to get rid of fire ants in the garden, the product that I use to get rid of fire ants in the garden. Okay, so this is the product that I use. I use Amdro fire ant killer, and the instruction says that we need to apply it like early in the morning or late in the evening. That's when the ants are most active. And if it rains, like if it's wet, you don't want to apply it. I think those are the three main things. And the application rate is 2 to 5 tablespoons around the mound. So we're not going to put it on top. We're just going to sprinkle it around just like so. So the ants will take it to like the queen, to the queen, and then it will kill it. So I got this from Amazon. I'm gonna put a link in the description box if you want to get this. This is for fire ants, Amdro. Today is February the 15th. I'm here in the garden doing some work, some cleanup work. So let me show you what I am working on. I like my garden to be neat. So now is just the perfect time to start working on my garden to ensure that I'm gonna have like a weed-free garden during the season, like in the spring and in the summer. The work starts right now. So I'm gonna be cleaning up all of the paths, like over here and in between the bed. I'll clean everything up, and by cleaning up I mean I'm gonna pull the weed. I'm gonna pull the weed from here and then lay a weed protective barrier. I already have one from last year, but as you can see we have weed growing, so I'm gonna pull this entire thing. I'm gonna just lift it up like this and pull this thing, and then I will compost the wood chips that I used. I will compost that. I will lay another weed protective barrier and put more of the wood chips on top so that the path is like really clear and I can walk around the garden without dirtying my shoes. So I'm gonna be working on all of the paths. Yeah, and then another thing that I'm working on, or that I have to do, is empty out all of the containers from last season. So old soil in all of the containers, I'm emptying them right here, and then I'm gonna add more manure, more soil amendments, then remove the roots, all of the old roots. I'm gonna sieve out all of this, remove all of this, mix everything, and then put back in the containers. So yeah, that's the work I have to do in the garden. And all of this from last year. See, this twigs, I'm gonna put these now in my compost bin. So when I pull them out, I just let them sit here over the winter. Now it's gonna go in my compost bin. So that's the work I have to do. Let me go back to the ants for just a little bit. I know I used a pesticide. These are fire ants, and I've tried everything, okay? I've tried using boiling water, I've tried the diatomaceous earth, all those other things, and it doesn't work. If these were just like regular ants, I will use hot water and other things to take care of them. Amdro is the thing that gets rid of fire ants in the garden, and I'm not about to be stung by ants. So yeah, that's what I use to take care of ants. Now back to the cleanup video. I start by removing all dead plants, and then the twigs that you see here is going to my compost bin. Now, this is manure. Throughout the year, I throw kitchen scraps here. I just throw a bunch of things in the paths, especially this back part of the garden, and then it composts. So now it is good soil, and I'm using that for container gardening this year. As you can see, there's a worm in there telling you the soil is quite fertile. I'm trying to save a lot of money this year, and I'm not gonna be buying any potting soil mix. Well, I'm not buying what I don't need. Let me put it that way. So I'm gonna try to use as much of the old soil as I can, and yeah, just make that work. So I'm using it this time to plant the fluted pumpkin. I'm using it for the fluted pumpkin. Somebody made a comment and said something about the peat moss maybe not being good for fluted pumpkin. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just going to use manure from the garden and pray that it works. So last year, I planted all of my fluted pumpkins. That's the ugu or okongobong in these containers, and the soil is pretty used. That's why I need to empty everything and then remove all of the roots, and there's that white stuff at the bottom. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Yeah, so I need to empty everything and then add more manure. I will add some chicken compost, like composted chicken manure, um, and mix everything up and put them back in those containers to plant either more fluted pumpkins or peppers. Peppers do very well in containers. Yeah, these other containers at the edge of the bed, um, I also planted peppers in them last year, and I realized that the drainage was not sufficient. So I am adding more holes, or making the holes bigger rather, at the bottom. Best case scenario would have been to just cut the bottom open so that it's like a sunken garden, but yeah, it's kind of difficult to cut at the bottom, so I'm just going to make the holes bigger and then fill the containers back up with the manure from the garden. And the plan is to plant peppers, more peppers in these containers. Peppers do quite well in containers, so I'm filling the containers kind of like halfway, and then if you've watched that pepper planting video, you know I add other things to the container at the time of planting. So I'm gonna add my Epsom salt and some organic fertilizer at the bottom, and then fill it up. If you have not watched that video about planting peppers and you're gonna plant peppers, go back and watch that video. Now it's time to clean the paths. Weeding the garden is extremely important. If you let your weeds go to seed, you're gonna end up with a weedy garden. And nothing sucks the joy out of gardening like a weedy garden. So yes, take some time now and just do some work, pull out weed. I'm adding some sand that I had, I had the sand and I'm not using it for anything, so I just thought, why not? So yeah, pulled out the weed, added the sand just to make the garden look good. That's my process. I was just doing things as I went along, quite frankly. One thing I would like to point out is the tools that I'm using. Having the right tools make chores such as this a lot more comfortable. I don't know. So yeah, this tool right here, I'm using it to pull out the weed. And then you would notice the basket that I have. I am not composting this weed. I'm going to throw it away. So having some kind of a basket or something to put trash, quote unquote, in as you go just makes things easier. It's been about a week since I applied the Amdro ant bait. Let's find out if it did the job. So I'm gonna just poke at the ant mound. I don't see any ants rushing, so it looks like it worked. Yeah, it looked like it worked. Yeah, I think it did the job. Yep, it worked. No ants. And this is the finished product. It's still a work in progress, but for now, this is the finished product. As you can see, the garden is a lot cleaner than it was before. This right here is container soil, which I'm in the process of cleaning up. I need to remove all of the roots, mix it with compost, mix it with some fertilizer, and then use that to put back in the containers. See the parts, it's pretty clean. This is as clean as it's gonna get. I'll see, maybe I'll buy more mulch and put right here. I created this little footpath so that when I step on it, my shoes stay clean. So yeah, that's the cleanup job I have done. The garden is looking relatively clean and almost ready for spring gardening. Okay, tribe, I hope you found some value in the video, and I hope you're inspired or motivated to get out there and start cleaning up the garden in preparation for spring. This is a chore that many people don't like to do, yet it's something that is absolutely necessary. Thank you so much for watching. And if the video added value to you, again, I'm asking that you give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget that like, and then help me share the video. And if you'd like to join the YAJE'S Garden family, where we learn how to cultivate our green thumbs and we grow a garden, because by doing so we grow health, then subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in my next video. Until then, garden, because when you grow a garden, you grow health. Bye.